السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. I want to encourage this community, all of you, to donate generously to the Masjid, to give more than what you have been given. And it's just not because of the energy that we all use, not just because of that, but because all of the money that goes to this masjid is used for all kinds of programs, all kinds of initiatives that we're responsible for. You'll be surprised that you will be in your home or at work driving your car and you're getting an immense amount of rewards because of the money you spend. You may not be given the dawah yourself as such. You're just a person. Go to work, go to school, you come home, you're with your family, and you do that day in and day out, and then on the weekend, you hang out, and you start the week all over. But you may not necessarily stop someone in the street and you start teaching them and calling them to Al-Islam. But when you give to this masjid, one of the programs, one of the projects, one of the things that we're responsible for is giving dawah to the people who are in prison. The Muslims who are locked up and locked down in the penal system here in Florida. This is one of my responsibilities as the imam in this masjid. That we go inside of the prisons and we give dawah to people so as to help them to change their lives. Instead of being heavy on the system and society, they become better people. I myself was in prison, so I accepted Al-Islam. Am I a perfect person? Do I encourage you to go to prison? No. But in prison, a lot of people become Muslims. One of the big challenges of the prisons of Florida is lack of knowledge. So in the last meeting that I had with the Muslims in the prison, all of them came for the first time. I was happy to see all of those people there, but I was appalled. I was shocked at the lack of knowledge that was present in the prison. So when going into the prison, it's my responsibility to help those brothers to understand what the real religion is. When we get those cultural imams who are going in there, they don't understand the mentality of the prisoners, nor do they know Al-Islam. They might as well sit at home or stay in a swimming pool, because that dawah that they give is not beneficial to the type of people they're meeting with in the prison. So there's something I want to share with you, because I think this lesson, and it came to me and struck me like a lightning bolt from the sky when I was there the last time, in that there are a lot of parallels between us and the people in the prison. The Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ad-dunya sijnul mu'min. The dunya is the prison of the believer. We're in a prison. Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min, meaning you can't just do anything and everything that you want to do in this dunya. There are rules and regulations, quyud and so forth and so on, mawani'. Just can't do anything and everything. You're never going to be 110% happy in this dunya. Right now, people are sitting right here, and you're dealing with some challenges and issues. That's the nature of the dunya. Now, in the prison, there is a subculture, a subculture. There are a society inside of a society. And if any of you met those prisoners, if any of you met them, and you started to talk to them, and you were to see how they justify things that they do inside of the prison, you're going to say, Ya Abdullah taqillah, you can't do that in the prison. You have to be a Muslim everywhere you go. You have to be a Muslim in the masjid, outside of the masjid, in Ramadan, outside of Ramadan, in the sacred month, outside of the sacred months, in secret, in open. You have to be a Muslim when life is sweet and when life is sour. You have to be a Muslim everywhere you go. You can't be a Muslim on Friday, just on Friday. That's when you pray. You can't be a Muslim when that's when you surround the Muslims and she puts on hijab. Only when she comes to the masjid. You have to be a Muslim all the time. So in the subculture of the prison, you know, the money that we have in our pockets, the dollars, that don't mean anything in the prison. No one has money. Money in the prison are noodles and oodles, ramen noodles, noodles that you eat. They're extremely important. If you have 10, 15, 20 bags of noodles, you have a lot of money. You barter and you trade and you do commerce with those noodles. Cigarettes, that's the commerce in the prison. You're a Muslim and you're in the prison, and you need to buy things, you need to purchase things, you need favors, you need whatever. The way you get that is you save up cigarettes. But as a Muslim, can I take a cancer stick and I sell it, I give it? Not to mention using it. So there are things in the prison you can't do as a Muslim, just as there are things outside in this big prison you can't do. I'll give you a big example, and I don't want to be politically incorrect here, nor do I want to be inappropriate, but it is what it is. In the prison, the man outside the prison is a straight up and down, he's an alpha male. An alpha male. He's strong. But when he goes into the prison, because he's doing 15 years, 20 years, he may have sexual relationships with another man. Akramakumullah. It may be consensual, or he may rape somebody. So if you have to go to prison, that's why I tell you, you have to learn how to defend yourself in Islam. If you have to go to prison, may Allah protect us from that, you have to deal with the possibility of that happening to you, because that's the subculture of the prison. What if a Muslim man said to you, I have to do 20 years and there are no women around. I'm going to just take a man and have relationships with him in the prison. You're going to say, yeah, you can't do that. And you're right. So that's my job in teaching those brothers in the prison, teaching them Islam. You can't justify in the prison what you want to justify. In the religion of Al-Islam, whether you're in prison or out of the prison, it's our responsibility to do those things that are not necessarily politically correct. And that's not something that Allah just ordered us to do. He ordered all of the prophets and all of the messengers, salawatullahi wassalamu alayhim ajma'in. He ordered them to do the same thing throughout the course of their lives.
I'll just share with you one issue with the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they are a lot. In Surah Al-Ahzab, the Surah of the Confederates, a tremendous issue happened with Prophet Muhammad himself as an example, showing people if it happened to him and he showed what to do in this situation, what are you going to do? لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. He is a perfect example. The thing happened to him and he didn't tap dance, acquiesce, apologize, cop out, apostate, make excuses. He didn't do that. He stood up against the society and he dealt with it. Although he knew that thing or those things, they were going to go against what the society was upon and the norm of the society. Allah mentioned in one of those issues, subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِذْ تَقُولُ لِلَّذِي أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَأَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِ أَمْسِكْ عَلَيْكَ زَوْجَكَ وَاتَّقِ اللَّهِ وتخفي في نفسك ما الله مبديه وتخشى الناس والله أحق أن تخشاه فلما قضى زيد منها وطرا زوجناكها لكي لا يكون على المؤمنين حرج في أزواج أدعيائهم إذا قضوا منهن وطرا وكان أمر الله مفعولا. Tremendous issue in Islam. Allah told the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Muhammad, remember when you said to the one who Allah favored him and you also favored him. Allah gave his ni'mah upon him and you, Muhammad, you gave your ni'mah upon that man. His name is Zayd bin Harithah, the only companion out of the hundreds of thousands of companions, the only one that Allah mentioned his name in the Quran. وَكَفَى بِهَا فَضْلًا. This ayat that Allah mentioned this man by name, Allah made ishara to Abu Bakr, to Umar, to many of the companions, but Allah mentioned this man's name only in this surah. Remember when you told Zayd, hold on to your wife and don't divorce your wife. Hold on. And fear Allah as it relates to your wife. Don't divorce her. Take it easy. The man came, I want to divorce my wife, Ya Rasulullah. I had enough. He said, hold on to your wife, like what we should do. When the Muslim asks and tells us about his issue, our first thing shouldn't be divorce. There are children in the equation. Hold on to your wife and fear Allah. And Muhammad, you concealed in your heart that which Allah was going to make manifest. And you were afraid of the people. But Allah deserved that you be more afraid of Allah. You were concerned, what would the people think if you did this thing? But Allah, it was more appropriate that you were concerned about Allah. So finally, when Zayd divorced her, we married you to her so that there would be no blame on the believers as it relates to the wives of their sons who they looked at as being their foster sons, their adopted sons. And the affair of Allah is going to be executed. This ayat is talking about something that was popular in the Arab culture. And that is, if there was a boy or a youngster, a girl, somehow a man came upon that individual, they said, you're going to be my son. You're going to be my daughter. And they would give that daughter or that boy his name. So he become so-and-so, the son of a man who was not his father. I stood up here and I told you people about the Dururiyat al-Khamsa, that Al-Islam came to take care of 5 essentials. One of them is the Nasab. Islam came to protect your lineage. The lady gets married to her husband, she does not take his last name. She keeps her father's name. You can't make zina, because if you make zina, the baby comes out and it's illegitimate. He had relationships with her, she had a relationship. Who's the father of the baby? Al-Islam came to take care of the lineage. Know your names, name yourselves correctly, and don't compromise this. When you bring this boy in and you say, he's my son, he's not your son. Allah said, call those people by the names of their father. But that's what the Prophet did, because that's what the people did in the past. So the Prophet ﷺ was given Zayd bin Harithah as a gift from our mother Khadija. Here is Zayd. He's your slave. Rasulullah said, you're not my slave anymore. You're my son. He took him to the Kaaba. He told the people of Quraysh, Zayd is my son and I'm his father. If I die, he inherits from me. If he dies, I inherit from him. And he walked around not only as a free man, but a Mawla from Quraysh, and he was the son of Muhammad from Bani Hashim. It was a big thing. But Allah wanted to get rid of that practice that they did in Jahiliyyah. He wanted to get rid of the practice of what? It wasn't permissible for the people in Jahiliyyah to them for a man to marry the ex-wife of his slave, the ex-wife of his son. It wasn't permissible. It wasn't something that they would do. It's like in Islam, a man can't marry his daughter. A woman can't marry her son. So they would never ever think or contemplate marrying the ex-wife of the son. Allah wanted to destroy that concept and that practice. Allah caused Zayd to divorce his wife, Zaynab bint Jahsh, may Allah be pleased with her, and then Rasulullah married that lady. That was a big thing. That was a big thing. For the reverse in this masjid right now, some of us have cousins who are Muslims. It's permissible for a man to marry his mother's sister's daughter, his father's sister's daughter, brother's daughter. He can marry his cousin. But should we do that? If I had cousins who wanted to marry each other, I'm going to say, don't do that. Why is it haram? No. Ali married Fatima, they're cousins. Why would I say don't do it? Because my mother, your father, and your mother, and the rest of the relatives are going to look at what you're doing as incest. Yeah, but it's in the Bible. They don't read or practice the Bible. I would say, don't do that. Not because it's haram. It's going to be a fitna. It's like marrying your brother and your sister. And that's how Quraysh looked at it. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was feeling some kind of way. If I marry Zayd, my son, my adopted son's ex-wife, the whole society is going to look at me as if I'm doing something wrong. And he wasn't comfortable with that. He wasn't comfortable. Like many of us are not comfortable about certain things. There are many things we're not comfortable about in our Islam. She's not comfortable with wearing her hijab to the job, to the school. He's not comfortable to leave his beard to grow. He's not comfortable with this or that. There are a million things we're not comfortable with. Everybody here is not comfortable with something as it relates to society. It could be our neighbors, our relatives, people we work with. It can be whatever. The real Muslim is the one who, he doesn't seek to go against the norms in society just for the sake of it, but it is not permissible for him to go against the religion. Even if all of the people came together against him to say this thing that you're doing, we don't like it. You just got to give the program. And that's what the Prophet was faced with many times, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah didn't just send him giving nice words of taqwa and ibadah and sabr and tahara. He made him an example. He made him an example. So we say, as Allah revealed to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for the Muslims, udkhulu fi silmi kafa. Enter into the religion of Islam wholeheartedly. Take everything about the religion. My mothers are now Muslim. When Mother's Day comes around, Father's Day comes around, they expect and they want things from me. I love my mother to bits. But when it comes to those holidays of theirs, I got to do some other way to show my love, my concern, my dawah. I can't bend the rules. We have Muslims here, if they don't acknowledge Mother's Day, Father's Day, that the Europeans came up with. We say in Islam, every day is Mother's Day. Every day is Father's Day. Every day. Those are days that we acknowledge. We don't wait for one day to give a lot of money to people and commercialize the situation. The mother gets upset with a Muslim that you didn't acknowledge my mother. Mother's Day. We say, hey, listen. Every day is Mother's Day. And I'm going to honor you every day so that you don't get sucked up into that matrix and that wrong way of thinking. Just one day? Just one day? So the point here is The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to give dawah to those Yahud, and they used to play around and play a lot of games with al-Islam. They used to say to one another, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَقَالَ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ آمِنُوا بِالَّذِي أُنزِلَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَجْهَ النَّهَارِ وَاكْفُرُوا آخِرَهُ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. The Jews would say to the other Jews, accept Islam early in the morning. Accept Islam early in the day. But by the end of the day, leave Islam and disbelieve in what was revealed in the hopes that the Muslims would stop practicing. So we say that to the brothers in the prison. Believe in al-Islam early in the morning. When you're in the prison, believe in Islam. And then when you get out of the prison, don't believe in Islam. Don't practice Islam anymore. Because that's common. From the subculture of the prison is, if you go into the prison, there are gangs in the prison. Bloods, Crips, white supremacists, the Aryan Nation, all kind of gangs. So the person goes into the prison and he gets with the Muslims. And he's only with the Muslims because he sees the Muslims as protection in the prison. I don't necessarily hold their fault someone for that, not necessarily. But when he comes out of the prison, where are you? With the Muslims. Why don't you come to the Masjid? Because he's not in Islam like that. He's in Islam inside of the prison because there's some benefit in the prison to be with the Muslims. No, we have to be with the Muslims at all times, in all circumstances, inside of al-Islam. I want to share with you about this incident. And you have to go back, Ya Abdullah, Amatullah, read about this issue. It's in the Quran as a tremendous lesson for us. Rasulullah himself is a human being. He has issues like we have. He doesn't want to make people upset. And he is a wise individual. He doesn't want to unnecessarily step on people's toes and cause the sleeping lion to wake up unnecessarily. That's not his dawah, that's not his religion. But there were things that Allah wanted, things that Allah commanded. He just had to do it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with all of the prophets, all of the messengers. 2 ayat I want to add on to this story. They were revealed because of this story to bring the lesson home. These ayat that I mentioned in this issue, 2 ayat. One of them is for Rasulullah, and the other one is for everybody else, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah said in the Quran, "Ma kana ala nabi min haraj fima faradallahu lahu sunnatullahi fil ladina khalu min qabl." It is not permissible for the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to have any haraj. It's not permissible for him to have any problems. It's not permissible for him to have any issues with what Allah has made obligatory upon him. Whatever Allah told him to do, he cannot say, I don't want to do that. Let's do it another way. I'm going to try to do it another way. Allah threatened him in the Quran with ayat about doing that if he were to do it. And hasha, he would never do it. It is not permissible, it's not acceptable for the Nabi to have any problem with what Allah made obligatory upon him. And that is the sunnah of Allah with those who went before. What does that mean? It's the sunnah of Allah with those who went before. It simply means if you are a Muslim from the time of Adam until Yawm al-Qiyamah, every Nabi, every Rasul, that Nabi, that Rasul, every one of their followers confronted with things that in this society, in your life, Islam is going to be in opposition to it. So the question is, what are you going to do? The little beard, and I'm not banging upon the beard like it's the most important thing in the world, but it's a little thing. It's a little thing. It is minuscule in terms of actions. If you just leave it without even touching, you just leave it, you're getting rewards. Just left it. You're getting rewards. We won't do it. Why? It's not politically correct. The environments that we come from, they don't do that. My job is a job where being smart and looking smart, it necessitates I do this, I do that. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not here beating you over the head about a beard. It is important, but it's an example. If he is afraid, reluctant, not cognizant, not aware about the beard, and he pleases people with that, then there are going to be other issues when it comes to drawing a line in the sand and saying, I stand here and this is what I have to do. as opposed to I'm going to always apologize and acquiesce. It's not permissible for the Nabi or the prophets before. Imagine this. Musa was sent to Fir'aun. Allah chose Musa and made him his Kaleem and sent him to Fir'aun. When Allah told Musa, you have to go to Fir'aun, you know what Musa said? You know what Musa said? Rabbi inni qataltu minhum nafsan fa khafu an yaqtalun. Oh my Lord, I have to go to Fir'aun? Just Fir'aun. Fir'aun is a problem. Musa said, oh my Lord, I killed someone from amongst them, and I'm afraid if I go, they're going to kill me. He had every excuse. I'm not going, because I know as soon as I appear in front of them, they're going to deal with me. I killed someone. I'm guilty. I did it by accident. Fir'aun ain't trying to hear that accident with accident. Fir'aun is an enemy, and I killed one of his people. Sunnatullah fil ladina khalu min qabl. All of the prophets, all of the messengers are like that. So Allah revealed that ayat for the Nabi. It is not permissible, it's not acceptable, it's not okay for the Nabi of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to have any haraj, any problem, any issues, any reluctancy, anything that Allah told him to do. You have to do it, Ya Muhammad. The second ayah about this issue is to us. Allah mentioned in the second ayah, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولُهُ فَقَدْ I don't want to tell you guys the last time I coughed like that from the minbar was when a certain type of person was in this masjid. I start choking when a certain type of person is in the masjid. It's something Allah put inside of me. Maybe they're in here again. Whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger, he has clearly gone astray. May Allah cause you to drink from the water of Jannah, my man. Ummatul Islam, Muslim brothers and sisters, this ayat is for us. It is not befitting for a believing man or a believing woman, if Allah or His Messenger decide a thing, for you to have any say-so in what has been decided. You just have to get with the program. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger, they have gone clearly astray. I'm going to repeat what I said because I don't want anyone to misconstrue and misunderstand what I'm saying. I am not up here speaking down on anyone, punching down on anyone. I gave the example of the beard. I'm not trying to put you out on Front Street. That's not my goal and my objective. I'm just trying to make a point. Nor am I standing up here saying I'm the perfect specimen of a Muslim. I'm just like you. So things happen in my life, in my personal life. Things happen when I go to Publix. Things happen when I mix in society that I know the religion said that. So I have to behave and deal with it a particular day. That's what the challenge is, being a Muslim. And that's the meaning of the hadith that we mentioned. Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir. The dunya is the prison for the Muslim, and it is the Jannah for the kafir. The kafir eats what he wants, drinks what he wants, says what he wants, wears what he wants, does what he wants. What those people are doing in Palestine to the Palestinians after all of this time, are those the actions of people who believe there's a day of Hisab? Those are the actions of people who think they have the liberty to do whatever they want to do to other human beings. The Muslim is not like that. He has issues with his relatives. The religion said, although you don't like it, you have to go and you have to rectify that situation. You owe the man money, man. You took his money. The religion said you have to go back and pay him that debt. Stop running around with the man's money. That's your ex-wife. That's my ex-wife. The religion says to us, you have to deal with the ex-wife like this. Can't abandon those kids. You can't leave those kids. And on and on and on and on. You have to draw the line. And you have to say, I can't be politically correct. Because as the great scholar of Al-Islam, Al-Imam al-Shafi, amongst many other people said, trying to please everybody is something that is impossible. Especially as it relates to non-Muslims. You will never be able to please the non-Muslims, the Jews and the Christians, until you leave Al-Islam, you follow their religion. So with that being the case, let us do our best. Hold on to religion, draw a line in the sand, and let the people know this is where I stand on any given issue, on any given day. And this is what you get from me. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا وطيبا مباركا فيه وصلوات الله وسلامه على نبينا الأمين. 2 points I want to make before we sit down or we break this prayer. 2 points. Number one is the masjid is almost full right now. And I know that there's traffic in Kissimmee. This is a bad area. Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, that thing over there, it's a bad area. People work notorious for traffic. But this is not one of those traffic signs. I think it's an issue of our community being lackadaisical and neglectful. It's a cultural thing. It's a misunderstanding, and that is, you can't come to the khutbah when you want to. Allah commanded us that you have to come to the khutbah before the imam comes and says, Assalamu alaikum. So the masjid has 1.5 rows at the start of the Jumu'ah, and then more people come. This is not okay. This is not okay. My responsibility to tell you that, because maybe you didn't know. I think you didn't know. When it comes to Jumu'ah, try to make this day a special day in your lives. Our children, their Islamic identity is being pulled away, diminished, and it's going to disappear. As parents, we have to show them these kinds of things. We have to make sacrifices and efforts. Now, for the one that one orphan here, over there, you're late because something happened, you got your car out of the mechanic late, no problem, no blame. Allah doesn't, but I'm talking about the one who lollygags in. Some people in their culture, they make it just in time to make the 2 rakats with the imam. No. Once the imam comes out and says, Assalamu alaikum, the malaika close the books at the door, and you come in, you have to do the Jummah, but you don't get any rewards like the people in the first row, and then the people in the next row, and the people that's the first point that I want to mention. Along with that point is these spaces, everybody look to your right, please. Everybody look to your right, look to your left. These spaces, this is not okay in our religion. We're not Jews, we're not Christians, Sikhs, Hindus, we're Muslims. And the day of Jummah, it has adab. And it's my responsibility to say that. I used to say, come up, I stopped because I would start dealing with that and use up 5 minutes of the time. I want to tell you, brothers, let us do better in this issue. Move up when you come to the masjid on Friday. It's for you. Every right step, a hasana. Every left step, a sin. All of the sins we have is as if a person says, I don't want to be forgiven. I don't want any hasanat. I want those sins to stay on me. All you have to do is step up and walk up close. Second thing that I want to mention is, in this masjid, this is our masjid. I'm asking you people who come here and pray. I'm asking you to do more in the way of taking care of the masjid with your money. This government doesn't give us any money. And we don't have a one person who's rich, who's a muhsin in this masjid, taking care of all the bills. We rely on Allah first and foremost alone. And then after that, we seek your help. So we're asking you, brothers, to give more from what Allah has blessed you with for the sake of Al-Islam, the projects, the programs, the initiatives, and from them is to help those people in the prisons. They need Qur'ans, they need prayer rugs, they need Islamic attire, like they want those hats those Kufis, just to make themselves different from the other people as they try to develop a community. Something as simple as that is important to them psychologically. When it comes to al-wala wal-bara, when it comes to the issue of brotherhood. So don't sleep on the small thing that you can do and look at it as being insignificant. It's not insignificant to Allah. May Allah Azza wa Jal accept it from us and from you. May He cause us to help our brothers and our sisters who are in that prison. And may He subhanahu wa ta'ala help al-Islam to grow and to be fortified and strengthened by regular people like us. By everybody getting in where they fit in and just giving a little bit more money than what we've been given in the past. Don't be that person who he uses the thing, but he doesn't ever bring his stuff to the table. That friend, every time we go out to eat, you're paying, and he never pays. He never pays, and he has it. Now, if he doesn't have it, no problem. But you're paying. In every culture, we're going to look at him and say, when are you going to do something? Don't be that individual who you're just taking, but you're not helping the Masjid, helping al-Islam. May Allah have mercy upon us, have mercy upon you, brothers. Wipe away our sins, our misfortunes, our misdeeds. And may Allah Ta'ala guide us correctly upon the Sirat al-Mustaqim and establish our feet firmly upon La ilaha illallah. Aqimus salat. Yarhamakumullah.